This Wikipedia page has a few tables. So maybe I want to actually take this data and bring it to Python. So we can very easily do that using the Python package Pandas. And there are a few requirements. We need the package LXML, HTML5lib, and Beautiful Soup. So once we have all these packages installed, we can actually use Pandas and requests to actually pull these tables out of web pages. So first of all, we have to know the proper URL of the web page. And once we have that, we can just issue a GET request at that particular URL using the request package. Once we have the raw HTML data, we can actually get the content out of it. And once we get the content, we can pass it through a Pandas function named readHTML, and it will give us a list of data frames that would pertain to all these tables that are actually there in this web page. So this function would actually return a list of data frames. And here, as we can see, we have 8 data frames that we had in that particular web page. And we can pretty easily print all the data frames that we actually extracted out of this. So we see that we have all the tables that appeared in that web page, right? So maybe we are particularly interested in one of these tables, and say we are interested in this particular table, and that's table number 3. We can pretty easily extract that particular one, because this is after all a list of tables, or rather a list of data frames. So this method will work perfectly fine with static web pages. But say I want to extract the data tables that are there in this particular website. So this is a very dynamic one, and it also employs cookies to check for automated queries. So it will pretty much block automated queries, and say I want to get the product information out of this particular Amazon listing of a certain thing. So that's a table, by the way. So I want to extract that particular table out of this. But this will require a bit more work. First of all, we need the URL. And you see the Amazon URL actually has a lot of tracking built into it. So we don't need any of these. We can just get rid of most of it. As long as we keep the product ID, it's just fine. So once we have that URL, we can issue a GET request and proceed exactly the way we did earlier. But there is a problem with this kind of approach, because Amazon, for example, checks for automated queries. And so this would actually appear as an automated query to the server, and the server will pretty much return useless information. So this is not good for us. So what we need to do, we need to actually issue a GET request to the base URL first. And to do so, we also need to make sure that we behave like a web browser. And how do we do that? By just passing in the HTML headers. And in the HTML headers, we have to pass in the user agent. So if you go to Google and search what is my user agent, you should actually see the user agent string for your browser. You can just simply copy and paste that. Now we can nicely issue a GET request in the base URL. And once we have that, we need to now extract the cookies that the Amazon server dumped on us. Once we have the cookies, we can now pass in the headers that we formatted, and we can pass in the cookies that we just got into the actual URL. So now with that, we shall have a successful fetch of the website. Now we can actually pass it through the Pandas readHTML function to get the list of data frames. And this is what we were looking for in that case. So this is the product info that we were looking for, that particular table. So this is table number 0, this is 1, and that listing is 2, and this product info is table number 3. So we can just extract the element at index 3 out of the list of data frames, and we shall actually have the data frame that we were looking for. So that's how you can extract HTML tables from web pages very easily.